All right, well, let's go ahead and before we get started with our awesome guest in our call, I want to go over a few quick things so that way you guys can have them on the top of your brain. So that way we can really approach August in a very wise way. We had an incredible July. If we took the time right now to celebrate and recognize everybody, it would be, midnight by the time we were done with this call. It was such a beautiful month. It was so fun to see so many people come together and really push and cheer each other on and rally for one another. It was just really, really beautiful. Now, listen, I know that there are some people, though, that didn't hit their goals. There were some people that walked away from July feeling a little bit discouraged, but I want to encourage you in something. And I know that I've shared this so many times before, but when I was in that place, when I was gold, senior gold, ruby, senior ruby, and there would be seasons where I would have these goals and I wouldn't meet them, but I would see all these other people around me hitting goals. It was really easy to sit in that negative space, to sit in that place where I was comparing and having some negative feelings and feeling discouraged. And listen, I get it. And I think it's okay to do that for a second, but I think bouncing back and having that maturity, that emotional maturity and emotional stability with this business is so, so vital, because we're going to have ebbs and flows in our businesses. Not always, but it is natural. You don't have, this is probably a silly example, but because I know nothing about basketball, but Michael Jordan did not make every shot, but he didn't give up. Okay. So and he was amazing, right? So we know that we are going to have hard days. We know that we're going to have seasons where we work really hard and we may not see a lot of fruit right then and there. But I promise that if we have that emotional stability and emotional maturity, and we are in love with the action and having fun with the action, that the results will come. Outcome will come from that. And that will be fun. And people will be drawn to you. You'll be contagious because you're enjoying what you're doing and you're not putting stock into every single person that you reach out to. And I don't know if you guys saw in that podcast that I shared today in the Gold Diggers thread. If you're not in that thread, please ask your upline who may be in that thread or send me a message and I'll send it to you. But it was a podcast from Sarah Robbins, and I really loved what she said. And I really want everybody to go back and listen to it. It's 10 minutes. But I know Kristy would agree, Tamara would agree, I agree. She talks about how it just takes a few people to catch the vision. And she said she has gotten to the very top. I mean, she's making 7 figures. She's crazy successful. And she was a former kindergarten teacher. She's with Rodan & Fields. But she talks about how her business, her income is really based off of 3 to 5 really strong legs. So what that means would be Hannah Richardson is one of my legs. Carrington is another one of my legs. If you're new and that language isn't super, common for you. So she said she's got 3 to 5 legs on her team, and that is what's helped get her to where she is. And she said, but that doesn't show the thousands and thousands of people that said no, or the thousands and thousands of people that she reached out to. She just needed a few who caught that vision. And so I just hope that encourages you. And I hope that you can walk away from July not feeling discouraged if you didn't reach your goals, and get excited to plan and map out and have kind of a new mindset as you approach August. So as we approach August, I want to remind you of a few quick things. So the $1 enrollments end on the 15th. So we've got a lot of stuff that we're doing up until the 15th that I think can really serve you well as you're reaching out, as you're following up with your people. But keep that in mind. This is a really great tool to utilize to reach out to your people that maybe even a year ago you were in conversation with, and then they just kind of ghosted you, or they just kind of dropped the conversation. This is a really great starter. Melissa Eichenhorst has a great YouTube video out there where she talks about follow-up and how she talks about every single corporate incentive, every single corporate discount. She uses that as a reason to reach back out. And I love using the verbiage of, you know, Angela, like, I know that you spoke with me a few months ago and you shared with me your health goals of X, Y, and Z. I know it was not the right time for you back then, but you are still very much a priority to me. I care very much about you. And I just wanted to let you know that there is a really big sale going on in the products that I had talked with you about a few months ago. Is this something that you'd be interested in hearing a little bit more about? Making sure people know, like, you haven't forgotten them. They and their health goals are a priority to you. You care about them and you want to help them, but you are not attached to that. You're ending that conversation or ending your little note with a question. So that way you're keeping that conversation going. And Lauren had mentioned in our Goal Diggers thread, and she was very right, for the entire Q3, Plexus is not only doing incredible prizes that they're offering this month or for this quarter, but they're also doing all 3 months, they're doing the Enroll 3, Enroll 6, and Enroll 9 for those extra bonuses. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, just a reminder that if you or anybody on your team enroll 3 ambassadors and or customers that have $100 worth of product. I'm going to pause here because I want to make sure this is understandable, because I know it's confusing a little bit to some people. If you have a customer that purchases, they have to have $100 after the discounts and before shipping and tax. And so if you've got somebody that wants to do the triplex, this is, I don't know, like point, I don't know money wise, I'm just throwing that out. But like, if you have somebody that wants to do triplex and you offer them the SAM 2020 discount, that could possibly take them below $100. I don't know if that's the case for triplex. I don't think it is, but just keep that in mind, that you want to make sure that their products are at $100, and that does not include the shipping and the tax. If you do have somebody that's a customer and they want to participate and get products that are about $100 and you still want to bless them with a little bit of a financial discount, don't use SAM 2020 and just give them a $10 rebate. You're going to be making money back from them, and that shows them that you love them and you're caring for them, but that still gives you that extra enrollment. So Enroll 3, get $100. Enroll 6, you're going to make $300, and then Enroll 9, you're going to make $500, and that's outside of the silver bonuses, the Fast Start Silver. So that's a lot of money. Did I say 900? I hope I didn't say 900. I said I meant 500. So 100, 300, or $500 for enrolling 3, 6, or 9. Another fun thing that we're doing with our team is the add 3 equals Genevieve. I'm so excited. So everybody knows, if you don't know Genevieve, get ready. This woman is amazing, but everyone who knows Genevieve Scory is blessed. This woman is amazing, and she has agreed to do an exclusive to us only team call in September. She's getting back to me with the date for September, but all that means is that in addition to the financial bonuses that you're going to get, you will also be a part of an exclusive training for our team, specifically like from Genevieve. And I'm sure she's going to leave space and time in there for question and answer. So keep that in mind. It is for 3 ambassadors. I may change that to customers actually, because it's just our team. We're going to change that. So it's going to be 3 ambassadors and or customers, but let's keep it at the same thing, customers of $100, okay? So customers and ambassadors. Now that's going to be harder for me to keep track. So please let me know when you've hit that 3-person mark, so that way we can celebrate you and I can put you on our list for earning that call. I don't want to keep taking up our time, but I do want to end with this, because this is pumping me up, and I know it is so many other people. Have you guys seen the Success Sprint Q3 prizes? I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but let's just talk about this a little bit more. So right now, Plexus is doing an incredibly fun contest all year round, but they're breaking it up into quarters. And I really appreciate the way that they're doing this, because they want us to focus. They want us to be career minded and not like carrot chasing, where we're just each month chasing after a prize. They want us to be really established and rooted in our business. And the way that you become established and rooted in your business here with Plexus is by recruiting people, so growing your team, retaining those people, taking really great customer care of them, troubleshooting with them, and then duplicating, helping them to get their products paid for. Those three things, those are really important for your success here. And so Plexus is rewarding you for taking care of the basics with those three things. And so with each person that you enroll, with each person that ranks up on your team, with each person that you enrolled last month, you're going to get retention bonus points from them. You're going to get all sorts of points for all sorts of things that you're doing. And those points are going to add up. Those credits are going to add up. And there are 4 different levels of prizes that you can earn. And we have 3 months to do this. So we've already taken care of July. So really now we have 2 months left to do this. And you guys, so much can happen in 2 months. So I'm just going to read a few of the prizes for you guys so you guys can get pumped up. Half the things I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know what half of the things are, so just bear with me. But for the very first level, it's 700 credits. The way you can go find that is going into your dashboard. And if you just scroll down in your dashboard where it has the 4 squares, if you scroll down, it will tell you where your credits are. But for your very first level, you get to choose these prizes. You get to choose between $200 cash, an espresso, a spa experience. I definitely don't know how to say this fancy word, le creuset, you know, the le creuset thing, the stoneware bake set. But it's like an 8-piece thing. Those are expensive. Noise canceling headphones, a Kendra Scott jewelry set, all just that you get to choose. You get to choose one of those things. Then the next level, this is what's getting me really excited, is 1,200 credits. And that you get to choose between like a KitchenAid mixer, a Cuisinart, Cuisinart, a smoker and barbecue kit situation there, a massage gun, which I'm definitely going to get, or $400 cash. But you also get that prize from level 1, and you get prize from level 2. Then you go down to level 3, and that's 2,000 points. You can get an inflatable paddleboard and oars. That's amazing. My husband's pumped about that. An espresso machine, a 3-day and 2-night getaway. I see Julie Evans over there with Dakota. You guys need that. I don't know what this is, but a Samsung 55-inch curved 4K UKD Smart. It sounded fancy and it sounded really expensive. So you could get that. A Pilates reformer. I think that's something where you like stand on your head. I don't know, or $700 cash. Then the last thing is this. 2,500 credits. You get all of those. You get to choose from each of those levels of all those other prizes. But then the very last level, which people, you guys, we can get this. Like everybody can get this if you just eyes on the prize. A smart bike, fancy luggage, a mirror workout system, which I'm assuming is one of those like Lulu something, a 4-day and 3-night romantic escape, Julie, Dakota, or $1,400 cash. So you guys, those are huge. I've totally taken up all of this time for Kristy to share all of her story, but I wanted to make sure everybody understands how awesome these prizes are. Last quarter's prizes were just meh, but these are so fun and they're so worth working hard for. You get rewarded, you get to grow in your community, you get to grow in your leadership skills, you get to expand your comfort zone, and then you get really fun prizes too. There's nothing better. So tonight, I am so excited. Oh, Kara, she just hit the 700 credit mark. Good job, girl. Tonight, we are so excited to have Kristy Hull come and be a guest. She is somebody that I have known since I first started as just this beautiful, kind, blonde babe. But I had no idea that she knew who I was. And we were standing in line at this diamond thing in April. And she just looked at me and she said something that I'll see you next week. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know who I am? Like, I couldn't believe it. I was just starstruck. And then whenever we got to go to Florida together back in May, she literally was, well, this is being recorded. So Tamara, I hope you're not watching, but she literally was like one of my favorite people that I got to hang out with and get to know. She has such a kind, gentle spirit. You know that she likes you when she's with you. And that's very special. And I think that also goes to show that there's something special with being successful here in Plexus. It's not being a shark. It's not being somebody that's a salesperson. It's somebody that genuinely cares about other people And Kristy is that. So Kristy is going to share a little bit of her story. And then I just said, share what you're passionate about, because we're all going to just take away so much. So the floor is yours. Thanks for being on, Kristy.
Well, thank you for asking me. I feel super honored. I've watched Emily, like she's known me the whole time. I've watched her for so long. And like she said, she didn't even know I knew who she was. I was like, how would I not know who you were? Like, I'm a total fangirl. And so I mean, honestly, I feel a little intimidating being on this call because y'all's team is rocking and rolling. And I feel like an old schooler. But thank you for asking. And yes, I have an accent. Somebody just commented. Totally have an accent. So my name's Kristy Hull. I'm from Arkansas, from a tiny town of 282 people. And so I always tell people, like, I lived here, I moved off for college, I lived in Little Rock for a little bit and moved back here. I guess about 4 years before I started in Plexus. So, I mean, if you look at my, tiny town and think, oh my gosh, I have to have like live in a big place and have, be in the city. I can't do this if I'm from a small town. That is like not true. And in my Diamond Doc, I actually said, it's not just about who you know, but it's about who you know and who they know. And so, social media, I really just feel like makes it so easy these days for us to share. And that's really where I built my whole business from, was social media. I'd probably say like 95% of my business was social media. And so I've been with Plexus, it'll be 8 years in November. I'll be honest, I was a no when I was first approached. My sponsor and best friend now is Rebecca Folks, and we knew each other. We had one similar friend, and we're Facebook, social media friends. And she reached out to me right after she joined, and told me the 2 or 3 things why I would be good with Plexus and all this stuff. And I told her I can't tell people no. So I said, send some stuff over and I'll look at it. And she sent me like this big long thing, which we laugh now because we wish we would have saved it, because like we would never send that out to somebody because it was so long. But that was in 2013 and things have changed, right? And so I didn't look at it, but like a good ambassador, she followed up with me about a month later, continued to love on me on social media, outside of Plexus. And so I had to admit, I was on my way to the beach. She said, have you looked at that stuff yet? And I was like, I haven't, but I'll look at it when I'm on the beach this week, which I did not do. But what I was seeing was I was still seeing her, Plexus post. And then that was in August. And so around, I guess, October, I started seeing people back home and like in my network that I knew, seeing success with the product, seeing a little bit of success with the business. And it was kind of like, So they were kind of her third party validation. And again, she was still following up with me. And I wish I could remember what post it was now, but it was in November. I was at my desk on my lunch break, surfing Facebook, and I just saw something that she posted. And I remember messaging her and saying, I think I'm going to sign up today. And y'all, I didn't get a welcome back. I don't really tell a lot of people that, but because I don't encourage it, but I didn't know what a welcome back was. She didn't tell me what it was. I felt like I didn't want to be spending a bunch of money on stuff I, quote, didn't need, right? And so I truly signed up. I knew nothing about the products. I didn't need to lose weight. I signed up for the business because this was my thinking. It's $34.95. I would rather say I tried it and it didn't work out than to look back one day and like want to kick myself in the boo-hiney because I like passed on this opportunity. And so what I did do is pay $34.95, ordered products, which was more expensive than getting the welcome back, right? But I didn't know that. And so I immediately started sharing on social media, and I didn't have a story. Again, didn't know much about it, but I just used other people's testimonies and shared from day one. But I did not go silver. So that was November 11th, 2013. And it took me till January 31st, 2014. So 3 months to go silver. And I remember, I had very little like hopes that anything would come of this. And so my big goal was if I could be making $500 a month a year in, that I would feel like I'd hit the jackpot. Like that's really how like small my mindset was with this. And so when I went silver, I think my check was a little over $800. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, I've hit my year end goal. I guess I better figure out something different. And so I just kind of told myself then, like, if you're going to do this, you're going to give this a solid year. You're going to really go after it. And so I'm kind of just like if I do something, I'm like all in. But I will tell you, I had a full-time job. I really didn't quote need the opportunity. I had been with my company, my old job for, I guess at that time when I signed up, about 8 years, and owned part of that business, had worked my way up, was making close to six figures. And then my husband and his family were in the Sonic driving business. And so if you looked at us on the outside, like, if someone, this is what I always tell people, like, don't judge a book by their character, or don't assume that people, are set where they want to be and don't want other opportunities, because financially we quote didn't need the opportunity. But again, I was like, I'm not going to pass this up, like retirement money, have a kid one day money, like fun money, all that. And so I worked my business in the nooks and crannies of my day. And so when people tell you, you can't really work your business in the nooks and crannies of your day, you have to work all day, like, that is not true. If you're strategic, and I feel like I was probably more organized when I actually had a full-time job, because I knew that I had those tiny little moments in the day when I could get a lot of things done. And so what I would do is I would listen to podcasts, listen to calls, do voice messenger on my hour drive to work. And then on my lunch break, instead of going couponing and wasting time at TJ Maxx, that's when I would post on social media and follow up with people. And then in the evenings, we don't have cable. We do now, but back then we didn't. And so we didn't really watch a lot of TV anyway. So I was like, well, I'll just continue working my business. And so a year in to the month, I hit Emerald. And, everybody's like, well, when are you going to quit your job? And I was like, well, I really didn't start this to quit my job. Like, this is extra money. And I worked for, 8 years to work up to where I'm at. I just can't tell that by. Plus, I'm a very loyal person. And so a couple months went by. And so January of 2015, so in 14 months, I hit Sapphire. And I remember Rebecca sent me flowers to my job and called me on my lunch break and was like, so when are you going to quit your job? And I was like, I can't deal with the pressure. Like, maybe we'll talk about that when I get to Diamond. But little did I know, in 3 days, everything was going to change. And so February 1st, 2015, so 3 days after I hit Sapphire, my husband Kyle was in a really serious car accident, and our world stopped, forever changed. And it was on a Sunday. I remember at that point I had been with my company for 10 years. And, messaging my boss and everybody I worked with, which was a small company, and telling them, he's been in a car accident, everything from his aorta's dissected to everything on the right side of his body's broken, liver lacerated, all the things. I'm not going to be at work tomorrow. And my boss said, you have 2 days max and you need to come back. And I remember not even responding, because I just thought, well, I'm obviously not going to be back in 2 days. And how can you say that to someone that just told you? I mean, literally, he should have not even lived, And so it was because I had Plexus and the security in that. And honestly, if I hadn't have been a Sapphire, I would have been like, I believe in this enough. And I do not have to return to work to this type of atmosphere. And so because of Plexus, I was able to stay by my husband's side in the hospital. I didn't go back to work. 47 days in the hospital. He ended up losing his left arm, and came home and had to nurse him home from that. And I did go back to work in April 20th and 21st, just because I had tried to quit a couple times when I was in the hospital, but they would never come see me face to face. And they just kept saying, oh, take your time. Because I think they realized, like, we screwed up here, And so I went back to work, and all of this anxiety and stress that I never realized, that's why I cried every Sunday night, came back to me. And I just thought, I do not have to live like this. I had too much on my plate, and I do not. And so I officially retired, or resigned from my corporate job of 10 years on April 21st. And then April 28th, I went Diamond. And so been a Diamond. It's crazy to think, for 6 years now. And again, I'm the one that thought I could only make $500 and I would be happy, a year in. And so for me, I'm a good example of, you don't ever know what's going to happen in your life. And did we need the financial opportunity? No. But what kind of went from a plan B turned into our plan A pretty quickly. And it was because of Plexus that we were able to, provide things for Kyle medically, and me stay home and not have to make choices. And, really, I do feel like in my heart that in November 11th, 2013, God was that nudge. Like I could never pinpoint like why I was sitting at my desk and just felt like that was the day I decided to say yes. And it was revealed 15 months later. And I'd kind of always told Rebecca that I wanted a passion. While you hear people like talk about these, they couldn't pay for this or they needed that or they needed that. And I was like, I want that like passion why. And I think it was around day 30 in the hospital. She texts and was like, I think you got that why. I'm like, yeah, a little more than I asked for, but I'll take it. Right. And so for us, Plexus has just been a godsend. It's allowed me, I've always been somebody that has a big heart for helping people in whatever capacity that is. And yes, I helped people in my other job and just in general in life. But I felt like Plexus has given me really the platform to help people in all areas of their life, whether it's monetary or with their health and wellness or, through leading people closer to God. And so it's just been a complete blessing. It's also allowed us to buy into more Sonics, and we purchased a bank a couple years ago, and that would have never happened because of Plexus. And so dream big. I tell people like I like to have small goals and work towards those, but still have those big dreams that one day you want to get to, and know that Plexus can be the vehicle for those dreams. Okay. Plexus might not be like your quote dream job. Rebecca was talking about that on our Monday meetup call this morning that, she didn't always dream of being a Plexus Diamond Ambassador. Like all she ever dreamed of was she wanted to be a mom, like a mom, a stay-at-home mom, a hands-on mom. And she said, but it's because of Plexus that I get to live my dream. And so whatever your dream is, use Plexus as the vehicle to get you to where you want to be. And so some tips I have, I will say like my biggest passion is definitely consistency and just sticking with something, because I feel like so many times, whether it's with Plexus or other things that people are working towards in their life, I just see so many people quit right before the magic is about to happen or something big is going to, change. And so I believe that consistency is what got me to where I'm at, and not just with Plexus. People always say like, what's your biggest secret? Like, I want to know your secret to success. And I'm like, I wish there was a secret, but there's not, I would tell you. But my next to biggest secret would be to be consistent with whatever you're doing. And so for me, that was posting on social media and really just living the Plexus lifestyle. So, I've always rocking some type of Plexus gear. If I'm going to a ball game or out in public, like I wait till I'm at that place to like mix my drink up. Like to me, it's not just a diet, it's about living the lifestyle. And even if you have, setbacks in your, healthy living, I mean, I had that last year, like you can always come back from that. And so, what I like to tell my people to do is to keep a list of your wins. And so there's 4 different lists that I like to and I keep these in the notes on my phone. So you have your health and wellness wins, your financial wins, your community and fun wins, and then your educational wins. And so your audience, yes, they want to see all the other things that you want to post about Plexus and all the other people you want to post about their wins and their successes. But your audience is following you because of you. They want to know most of the time, if I post something and I get a response from somebody, it's because I am posting something that's vulnerable to me and how the products or the opportunity or the community have affected my life. And so don't forget in all of your posting to not tell your story. And I know a lot of times we feel like when we tell our story, we have to tell the whole thing from A to Z in every post. And it's really kind of those like, when you narrow it down and you're like, maybe it's you suffered with migraines and, I'm not the compliance police, so I'm going to say that right now, but you can change the wording around when you post if you want to. But when you kind of narrow it down and maybe, say you have 10 things that Plexus has helped you with health wise, that's 10 separate posts that you could make and, mix it up between the 4 different categories. And like every other day, or at least 3 times a week, it should be personal things that you are sharing your successes from Plexus with. And maybe sometimes that's putting them in your stories. I would venture to say that probably 75% of my new people in the last year, especially, are people I get from my stories. I don't post about Plexus every single day anymore on my news feed, but I make sure I'm posting about Plexus every single day in my stories. And that's where I've really gotten, I would say again, like 75% of my new customers or new ambassadors from the last year, maybe probably a year and a half, is from my stories. But don't be afraid to tell your story. And we hear it so many times and we say it, maybe because you're talking back and forth to people in conversations, or you posted it 3 months ago, and we get that little voice in our head that's like, people already know that. You don't need to tell that story again. And you do need to tell it. And there's tons of different ways that you can tell it. So don't feel like your story is old, because the other thing is, if you're doing what you should be doing and getting new people into your audience and expanding your network, you're always going to have a fresh group of people. And we have to remember, those people do not know your story, right? And so being consistent in posting and reaching out and in taking your products. I can always tell a huge difference in that. I'm even more excited about Plexus. So I'll just be completely honest. Like last year, I had a health issue and ended up having couple surgeries and open wound for 70 something days. And then COVID, got in a funk. And so I kind of didn't stop taking all my products, but got in a bad routine and bad habits. And I still post about Plexus, but the passion wasn't there. And it's probably because I was feeling like crap, because I wasn't taking all my products, and I was, eating bad things and drinking bad things. But I can always tell a difference in how I'm posting, and I guess how I even it's perceived from my audience when I'm doing the things and taking the products. Yes. Then when I'm not. And so be a consistent product of the product. And that doesn't mean that you have to be, someone that has a huge weight loss story. I think that a lot of people on my team, like, their stories aren't about weight loss. It's about the other things. People think they want weight loss, but when you really get down to it, they would rather feel good. And usually weight loss is going to be a side effect of that. So, that's the other thing, is don't feel like your story doesn't matter, or that your story is not one that someone needs to hear, because it is. And if you keep sharing it, I promise you, people are watching. I had a girl sign up last week, and she messaged me out of the blue, and she was like, I'm ready to sign up, like, yada, yada, yada. She's like, I'm using this old link you gave me like 2 years ago. And so, I mean, obviously I talk to her all the time on social media, but I really kind of forgot about her, because she said she was going to sign up and never did. And then just, kind of blew me off, I guess. And so I just kind of was like, well, I'll just still love her outside of Plexus, right? And so she said, I want to thank you for being an inspiration and continuing to share. Like, it's taken me this long, but I'm like, it's because you've been consistent in sharing, and putting it out there, that I've been following you all along. I'm just finally taking the plunge. And so I think that's another good thing to remember. And what I've tried to remember all these years is, I have to love people where they're at. And I have to remember that I wasn't interested when this was first presented to me as well. And I knew nothing about the products. And so a lot of times it's really just people not knowing, and kind of, they don't understand because they don't know. And so I just have to love them where they're at, whether that's they want to start Plexus right now, they're totally, blowing me off and not answering messages, or that they're in, or that maybe they come in and then they go out for a little bit. But to love people where they're at and give them grace, and know that if you just continue that, to be consistent with your follow-up, with your still continuing to interact with them and love on them out, not just because of Plexus, and putting good content out there to help them understand what they don't know about Plexus, then they eventually will come around, and it has to be in everybody's timing. And so the thing I would say is, don't be afraid to talk to people, because more people than what we realize need what we have to offer. And especially in today's world with health and then the financial issues that are out there. So that's my spiel. I was going to see Oh, and the last thing is, and I know Emily's really big because she read so many books, and I was so proud of her on the beach. I'm like, look at this, look at Emily over here. I didn't even bring a book to the beach. But to choose growth over comfort. And it's honestly interesting. Like sometimes we don't feel like we've grown that much or even had to get that far out of our comfort zone. But I guess around 4th of July, I was sitting at the pool or with some family, and something was said, and my sister said, yeah, but Kristy's always been like that. And my cousin popped up and she said, actually, she was like, she has, but I feel like she's like really had to step out of her comfort zone, to get where she is with Plexus. And so I think, we'll discredit like how much we've grown, or that people can see our growth, or that our growth is affecting like our actions and our words and the things we do. And so, don't limit yourself because, you're scared of something or scared of failure, or, it's going to be uncomfortable, because that really is where you're going to grow the most. And so just push yourself in that regard.
So good. I love everything you said, but I really loved how when you started, you didn't have a story, but you shared other people's stories. And we say this all the time, but Jen Leith, I feel like she probably has a pillow stitch with this, but she always talks about how her Plexus business was built on stories. And I think, especially with us like looking side to side and seeing all those influencers, I think there are times where we get away from sharing the stories because we feel like we need to be like creative and catchy, and we need to like, be whatever. But it's all about the stories, because people are watching, and even if they're not responding, I mean, how many of it, just a raise of a hand, how many of you like join Plexus without ever like liking your upline's post or commenting on their post? Plexus post. I know for sure me, and I know sure my sister, she blocked me, so she wasn't even seeing my post. There's so many people out there, you guys, but they're watching. And so I love that you are talking about how our story matters. And I love how you touched upon the weight loss too, because I think that is a really big thing that I know many of us probably see, where people want weight loss and they give up before they've really even given it a chance. And so for us to be able to really hone in on, yes, weight loss can be something, but let's not forget the importance of having energy to be able to play with our children. Like that's life-changing. Being able, as gross as it sounds, but like being able to go to the bathroom without having a lot of struggle there. Like that's a huge deal. Like there's so many big things that I think we think aren't big enough because it's not a huge before and after. And I love you saying your story matters. No matter what, your story matters. And the people that follow us on social media, most of them hopefully know our hearts, and they love us, and they love our hearts, and they are rooting for us, and they want to hear what's going on. They want to hear what you have found that has helped you, or helped your mom, or helped your best friend. That's a beautiful gift that we have, and such a platform. And I love how you also said that Plexus has been a platform for you to help people, because I know so many people here on our team are helpers. Like so many of our people are major helpers on our team. And knowing that you are saying Plexus has been, as a diamond, Plexus has been a platform for you to help people with their health, to help people with their finances, and most importantly, to help people become even closer to the Lord. Like that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And all the while being at a place where you're having lucrative compensation to go and be with your husband during a very tragic season. I mean, so beautiful. There's a reason that so many people are passionate about Plexus. And so I would think Kristy would probably agree, like be consistent, don't stop. If you're in a season where it's not fun and you're not having that passion, reevaluate. Are you taking your products? Are you listening to your body? Are you going on the walk? Are you enjoying having conversations with people? Are you engaging with people? Like have that slight shift of your mindset and reignite that passion again. Does anybody have, let's leave it open for like maybe one or two questions, because I know it's getting late where most everyone is. Does anybody have any questions that they have for Kristy? Don't be shy. Feel free to put it in the chat too if you feel uncomfortable unmuting yourself. You guys are making this awkward.
Okay, I'll break the awkward. Kristy, how do you deal with the disappointment when you lose customers and ambassadors? How did you fight through that and keep going? That's where I'm at right now. I am really, really struggling.
Well, I'll tell you how I wanted to feel. So this took me a little while to get over, because you know we're so passionate. I know you're so passionate about it, that because we've seen it and we've stuck with it and we know what's on the other side, right? And so I think that was a very hard thing for me, is because I wanted everybody to feel like I felt, and I wanted everybody to see what I felt. And so I told my husband one time, I'm like, I just want to take him like by the neck and be like, do you not understand like what you're losing, you know, whatever. And so I finally just had to say, again, love them where they're at. We can't, I'm liking what Kylie just put, you can't control their choices. And so I never like put them out of the like totally out of my mind. So I still like checked on them and loved them, and you know, still was their friend. And a lot of times those people end up coming around and they'll self-admit that, you know what, I really wasn't consistent with it. Like actually a Jewel on my team, she wasn't consistent with it and she quit and said it didn't work for like, because she tried it for like a month and a half. And then like 3 months later, she came back and was like, okay, I wasn't consistent. I want to get this try. And then she ended up being like my first Jewel or my second Jewel on my team. And so again, I think it's probably not in their right timing. And for us, instead of wanting to get frustrated and grab them by the neck and shake them, is to just understand that everybody, you know, they might have something going on also that we don't know about. And so maybe checking in with them, you know, in a way about that. But also knowing that your success is not determined on that one person. I liked how, I think it was Emily said, don't attach like someone saying yes or no to like how you feel. I think she was saying something about that at the beginning, I believe. And so, you know, she was talking about how people, Sarah Robbins, that's what she was saying, only has like 3 to 5 runners. And I mean, my upline sponsor, when she went diamond, she had only ever personally sponsored 34 people. So some people, they just, you know, they get the right people right away. And then like Melissa Eichenhorst, we were talking about this video on our Monday meetup this morning. She has a YouTube video, and it's called something like, are they your number, you know, 76 or 67, something like that, 75, maybe it's that. And so it took 75 people before she ever found someone that wanted to like stick with this. And so you never know when that next person, so just be consistent with it and know that those people aren't going to determine the fate of your business. And I know it's hard for us, especially if they're people and you know that these products really could help what they're dealing with. And sometimes they're not ready for the change. It all comes down to them not being ready for the change. And just so know that, and know that you'll still be successful, and they'll probably come back around. Was that helpful?
I'm going to say something too. I think a lot of times the people who quit, maybe this is not right, but I feel like in my experience, most of the time, they know they haven't given it a real good shot. They know they weren't super consistent. They know that they were choosing McDonald's 4 nights a week and still complaining of why they weren't losing weight. You know, like they know. And so I think you just loving them, and then you need to go build your belief, because our belief takes a blow when our people start to quit. Our belief takes a blow and our doubt grows, and we think, well, is this like a placebo? Like, am I just making these things up about myself? Like, did I really have these experiences? And then you start to doubt yourself, but you need to go and hear about Michaela no longer having UTIs, or helping people with their anxiety or helping people with their breast milk production. I'm going all the places. Sorry to Dakota, but building your belief is so very important when you've had some struggles like that, and then rebuilding that passion.
Yes.
Okay, there was one more quick question, then we can pop off. Who was that? I'm so sorry. I don't remember who that was. Anybody else? Sarah? Oh yeah, Sarah. Yeah, yours was good.
I asked one in the chat, just like as you were working, your corporate job and you're working, your Plexus work, as you continue to rank up, how were you able to balance those as it continued to go? I could see doing nooks and crannies of your day, as you're starting out and ranking those first few ranks or whatever. But when you got up there, how did you balance that so well, or not? I don't know your whole story. So.
Well, it might not been very balanced. I don't know. I will say there were some nights when I was getting like Senior Ruby and Emerald, and you're pushing for stuff and there's a lot more people needing you. I probably didn't get a lot of sleep. I probably, but that I knew that would be for a short period of time. Right. And so the other thing I think helped me was I had a lot of people under me, level ones, and like I'm a self-starter, so they were a lot of self-starters, and so I didn't have to, it wasn't like I had to do a lot of hand holding, and they knew where to look for things. So I think if you also like have things like delegated and have a good group of people under you, then you don't feel like the whole time I would be at my corporate job, I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm getting behind, or oh my gosh, what am I gonna, how am I gonna catch up with all this, because a lot of the people behind me were taking care of things. And so I like all these suggestions people are doing. But I think it was just, and like I said, I was more efficient when I had a full-time job. And I think when you know that you have limited amount of time, that's still, I'm not gonna lie, I've not worked for corporate since 2015, and it's 2021. And so this will just show y'all, like, diamonds aren't perfect and we don't have it all together. Like, that's still something I struggle with, was I have all day long. And so sometimes like something else comes up and it sounds more fun. So I'll, end up, maybe it's the end of the day that I'm working my business, and I should be more, strict with myself. But I think there's no good answer. I probably was, like I said, I probably wasn't balanced, but what you need to do and the important things. And so always do the hardest things that you don't want to do first when you do have time, if that makes sense. Because, the easy thing is posting on social media.
Well, Tamara says she works max 8 hours per week in time blocks.
Yes, a lot of people do time blocking. Again, I'm not a good person to ask that question to, because I'm not structured. I feel like Emily is probably a very structured person and probably has a great schedule.
I just think it's it. I just think that it's, that your job truly is reaching out to people, following up, growing your skills by doing that training and posting on social media. And so it's easy to avoid the things that are the hardest. And just like Kristy said, like, prioritize. You're reaching out and you're following up. And I've heard actually from quite a few people that those people who don't have a whole lot of margin in their time are the ones that are typically most successful, because they prioritize those very important things. I'll just say this last thing and then we'll end. But when I was starting out, my kids are very young, very, very dependent. I didn't have a whole lot of time. Even though I was home, I did not have a whole lot of time. And so I would take a night or two that my husband would help put the girls to sleep so I could go and have a few hours of focused time. Saturday mornings, I would wake up at 5 in the morning, which sounds terrible now, but I actually loved it. I would wake up at 5 in the morning and I would go to Panera, and just for 3-4 hours, I would just work and just do a blitz, do my messaging. So that way I would know, like, I'm getting my stuff done, but then when I'm vacuuming or washing dishes or whatever, I can be listening and training myself when I can't like fully put my mind into my messaging. So I think just remembering what your priorities are and doing the hardest things first, which for a lot of people are the messaging, following up, and for some it's social media. So do what Shelby does and plan them out, and that way it won't be as challenging. You guys.
Yes, and I know you're closing, but I'm going to send you this, Emily, because this might be helpful for her, especially since she works full time. But we started using this summer, and it's called the weekly checklist. And so it's divided by 5 days. And I mean, if we actually, so we would have a power half hour and get on there and work. But it's like personal development, perks report. And so each day, obviously, personal development, perks report, like the client cards, your posts. But some of these other ones like change every day. So like and it's like Rebecca said this morning, if you work this sheet every day for a month and your business doesn't grow, like we need to talk because there's something amiss. But sometimes just like a check sheet that you can check off and know like, okay, these are like moving the needle things that I need to do. Because sometimes that's just like confusion as well. And if you look at it and you're like, I don't want to give that to my people, then don't give it to them. But Rebecca and Melissa,
that'll be great
together.
Yeah.
And that's been really helpful for our team because sometimes it's just people, they need just pointed in the right direction and then they'll take off.
Yeah. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being on this call. I hope that this was helpful for you. I know it was. I know that it was because Kristy is amazing. And again, like I said at the very beginning, it's not about being this skilled salesperson. It is about loving people and being disciplined and having that passion that you believe in what you're doing and you believe that this is going to help other people, and it will. Don't give up, continue to be consistent. And if you're in a place where you are struggling with a certain area, then reach out to your upline or reach out to me and we can work together. But I encourage you, jump on power hours. If you don't see any power hours that are hosted with your group, create one. Say, okay, guys, I'm going to do a power hour this morning. So that way you have that accountability just to get your stuff done. And then you can walk away and feel good that you've done something for your business. You guys, thank you so much for being on. I so appreciate you guys. I'm excited for what's to come. And Kristy, you're the best. Thank you for taking time tonight. You guys all have a good night. Bye.